Hello and welcome to Schools Rugby Review. Week 7 of Dialogue Schools Rugby have been concluded. Now we know who are through to the super round. Of course, from Group 1A, the unbeaten Green Machine Isipathana College along with Trinity College have been promoted. And on Group 2A, it's unbeaten St. Peter's College, the defending champions, along with Royal College. So the coming week, there's two games which is going to be interesting clashes ahead of this Week 8 as we progress. I'm once again joined with Sudarshan and Muthutantri. Your quick thought about Week 7.
I think now we know who the top 4 teams in the table are. I think it's exciting to know going into the business end of the tournament how these teams will perform, and we are looking forward to some exciting rugby over the weekend.
Absolutely, yes. Let's move on to the review first up.
Red Bull gives you wings. Get keys to your wheels and experience people-friendly vehicle leasing with Amana Bank. Enjoy the lowest monthly installment and flexible financing up to 7 years. Apply online at www.amanabank.lk or call 0117 756 756. Amana Bank. It's your bank.
Right, the first game we are going to look at DS Senanayake College versus Science College. Science College were good in that first half. They gave a fight in that first half, but it was all DS Senanayake College winning that convincingly, 39 points to 12.
I think it was an interesting game for both teams. I think DS wanted to finish out on third and seal their position on the table. It was a close game, as you said, in the first half. It was very close in terms of ding-dong battle. I think both teams struggled in terms of execution. But moving into the second half, at the end of the game, DS just pulled away with scoring some tries.
Yeah, DS of course played with that forward game, and also they opened up sending their backs where they scored from the corners as well. Dilwan Pereira of Science College scored their first try. One good player, which eye-catching player for me, Muthu, he's a fullback. He was so good. He was a visionary, just like Coach Marty said. He knows where to kick and where to take the run and step, and also that long pass is handy. But after all, it's not a game played by one man.
Correct. I think Science College has very good and very promising players for next year as well, moving into the knockout this year as well. So I think we can look forward to some interesting players coming up from Science College. I hope that they can tie up some good performances moving into the knockout and maybe finish off with some upset wins.
Yeah, and congratulations to DS Senanayake College finishing third on the table as far as the latest points table that we have. And they must be disappointed that they could not make into that super round finishing second, because both DS Senanayake and St. Thomas's have 30 points, Muthu. Trinity have 32 points. That is because they have 7 bonus points. They have the winning bonus points or they have the losing bonus points.
Yeah, I think this is a good example what we discussed in the beginning. I think the first 2 weeks of the segment also we discussed is about the bonus points coming into factor at the end of the season. So the team who is willing to play an expansive mode of rugby to score more tries, score more points, will get that reward at the end of the season. Likewise, Trinity did so, and they ended up being second overall on the table.
And we'll also inform some of you may not know how the bonus point system works. If you score 4 tries, obviously you're getting a bonus point. And if you lose by 7 or less, for example, you're 27, I'm 20. In that case, I have a losing bonus points. If I score 4 tries on that 20, I have 2 points, 1 for 4 tries and 1 for 7 or less the margin. That's how it works.
So even if you lose a game, you always have the ability to take 2 points away from that losing game as well.
Right, let's have a look at the Amana Band try scorers of this game. There we go. Well played to all those boys. I'm sure this is going to be exciting if they opt to play the President's Cup knockout tournament. And let's move on to the other game Sri Sumangala versus 25. Versus 25 versus St Anthony's 25 points to 17. They gave a hard time to the Antonian Eagles. I thought, for instance, they are going to pull out the victory.
Yeah, this was actually a very exciting game to see, because it's good to see Sri Sumangala coming from the B division and contesting against some good opposition in the A division. This was a close game. The scoreboard didn't do justice for Sri Sumangala. They played a really good game, and it was unfortunate that they didn't come out on top. But congratulations to St Anthony's for pulling off the win in the end.
Yeah, it was so close because they know it's now or never kind of a thing for them to stamp their authority in that A division, and also beating their Kenyan counterparts. So it was tough luck for them, but yeah, again, perhaps they will play the relegation battle along with Thurstan and maybe Ananda and maybe Mahanama. We have to wait and see. We'll keep you updated on that. But going back to this, Muthu, finally some relief for St Anthony's, although their performance is not exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a relatively new coaching staff as well. Srinath Surya Bandara and Achala Pereira taking over the reins from the previous staff. I think moving forward, they will iron out some certain areas that they want to address going into the knockouts if they decide to play. And I hope they play as well, because these are crucial games for them to keep the momentum for next year's league as well.
Right, let's have a look at the Amana Band try scorers of this game. Right, up next, the game we had another Kandy Hill Capital battle between Trinity versus Dharmaraja. 40 points to 14, Muthu. A great comeback. Trinity, after going down, after they win the first game against your school, St. Thomas's, but they had a loss to DS. That's really momentum shaken in that game because DS won for the first time in the history. But week in, week out, they have been improved. Kudos to coach Fazil Marija and his team.
Yeah, I think we addressed this during week 2 when they went down to DS in that decider of a match for table positions. But I think we also know that this team was continuously improving right throughout the season, and they were really good in terms of their attack against Dharmaraja. As the scoreline would suggest, they scored some great points, great tries. I think they are playing at the right rugby at the right time of the season, going into the knockouts and also the supers and also the rugby coming up soon.
I doubt they will play the knockouts, but yes, the super round, perhaps again some momentum to take from that. Well, whether they can win the league, that will be a question in terms of points. MPTs are well advanced. Royal also 37 points. So we have to wait and see how it goes. All the bonus points or the 4 tries will be crucial for Trinity in that case, at least to finish second perhaps.
Yeah, I think they found a balance between running rugby and dominating with their forwards as well, as you would say in the scoreline where they scored like heaps of tries in this last game. I think in terms of Dharmaraja, they will be trying out new players, new systems moving into the knockout if they decide to do so. So I think that's why there's a big disparity in the score as well. But let's hope and see what will happen this weekend.
Yeah, on the other hand, Dharmaraja College quite inconsistent rather. They won a couple of games, and when they play against some big names, they completely lost their momentum. Again, a lots of learning for them in terms of this game, and perhaps they can. You have another 3 weeks to gel together, correct all your mistakes, do your homework well, and come for the knockouts on a positive note.
Yeah, I think 3 weeks is a long time. You can do a lot in 3 weeks. I think this is a team that we can look out for in the knockouts, because all the big teams, as you said, will be coming off the super round as well, playing 2 games, 2 tough, very tough games. So let's hope and see how Dharmaraja takes it on in the knockouts.
Now let's hear from Coach Fazil Marija in our Coach's Corner what he had to say about this game and the improvement. Hi Fazil, congratulations. Your team finally into the super round. Great performance.
Thanks, Shabir. Firstly, you guys are doing a great job. You and Muthu, and well done, brother. It's a good thing for Sri Lanka rugby, and everybody a lot to learn from this. And talking about the season, so we had a roller coaster ride. We have a very young team, and they are improving week by week, and I believe they deserve to be in the super round. So we worked hard for this. So well done for young lads.
You all had a good start, especially with St. Thomas's winning that convincingly, and then DS game quite unexpected results, and also the Isipathana game was a heartbreaking for you for sure.
I think it's all about the heat of this tournament. We had a good start against St. Thomas, and against DS, I think DS played really well. And as a coach, I'm a bit disappointed with the results against DS. And Pathana, I think Pathana game is always a tough one. So at their home, happy to come out with a losing bonus point. But at that game, I think players played really well. That's unfortunate. So this is part of the game. So what to do? So we had a good season so far. Only a few games. I'm happy with the season. So exciting season, and looking forward for the super round.
Coach Fazil, thank you very much for your words. We wish you all the best in the super round. And now let's move on to Amana Bank try scorers. The last game of this Group 1A, Isipathana versus St. Thomas's, all eyes were at Havelock Park. It was a close game, certainly worth the money if you were watching there at Havelock Park. Unfortunately, your school could not make or get that all-important win to qualify for the Super Round.
Yeah, it's a classic case of being very close, but yet we were so far away from the win. But I don't think the final scoreline suggested how the game was played, because if someone looked at the game and not looking at this final score, they would see a completely different picture. Like you said, all eyes were on Havelock Park that Sunday evening, and we were very optimistic in terms of getting the win for St. Thomas's. But I think Isipathana held their home ground advantage and came off with a nice win in the end.
Yeah, St. Thomas really played in that first half a brutal game, in fact. But Shahid Zumri, what a masterpiece! We mentioned about him at the first show. If you remember our first episode, he's more like a 13 than a 10. But he's no matter where your coach puts him, he really played. But here in the first half, more often than not, he came as the second receiver, and as a result, you can say what he made in the early stage. Every time St. Thomas has moved forward, he put them, make sure St. Thomas goes backwards. Here again, comes as the second receiver, and he has more time, more space, and he can scan those space and put that kick. That's a peach of a 50-22.
Yes, I think it was a classic case of buying more time for Zumri, so they shifted him out wide to number 13 so that he has a clear vision of the whole field to make those crucial kicks that they wanted to put in the first half, because the tactics were very clear that they didn't want to run the ball in the first half because they knew the defense for St. Thomas's will pressure them up front, so they wanted to put them on the back foot and gain territory and position and play a tactical game in the first half.
We witnessed some of dogleg defense from St. Thomas's, which let them sometimes it's go in your favor, but it took nearly 13 minutes to score that first try. Nimantha Sandeep, the man with number 13 shirts on, he scored a hat-trick. Congratulations, young man, because we were talking about this Isipathana's 12-13 combination is not up to standard, but here today it's a different story. A lovely cutout pass, and there goes the hat-trick hero, scored the first try in that 17 minute. St. Thomas's showed a lot of improvement in their scrum and line-out drive. We can talk through this.
Yeah, I think this was a clear favor in favor of St. Thomas's, where they had great momentum going into their driving maul. It's unfortunate that they couldn't win a little bit more line-outs, but all the good came when they started mauling, and you see the wingers also joining and finishing in the right hand side of the field.
That's first time you witness that going through a number 11, a winger goes through that channel where Isipathana completely outsmarted on that occasion. Here, Zumri, once again, as a result of that try, St. Thomas had to restart straight away into their star player. This has been spoken widely on commentary as well. But when you put that kick into this man,
It's very hard to stop because give this guy space in like the open wide field, he will burn all your defenders and make some momentum over the ground. And this was a classic case of why we shouldn't have kicked right straight to his hand. This ended up in a try, I think, and the forwards also did their part in joining the line and finishing off a superb try started by Zumri.
I love the fact how that prop forward ran, Muthu. He made the angle straight, so that will allow others to adjust and create some space. And here, Zumri with a too easy and 10, 12, 13 combination, and that's the second try. That's a masterpiece. But what is the root cause for this? You kick straight away into the playmaker Zumri. He got the ball, zigzag and all the way with his X factor, which is brilliant. And again, another kick straight away into Zumri, but this time he did not opt to run by himself. But what a lovely kick. Well, not always you will find touch, but he was inside the 22. It doesn't matter, but this time it was on one bounce. It was a super kick.
Territory and position, I think, both in favor of Isipathana in the first half. That end result was a penultimate result of the tactical game they played in the first half. So I think Zumri had a big part in terms of their overall outcome. So this was a really great, exciting game to see.
And we spoke about this kick. And here, again, we talked, he's not as the first receiver. He's in the second center position. This is the X factor. He can be handy at the first receiver where he can see the space to put those kicks. And here, in terms of his skill level, he runs, fends, he shows his power, draw and pass. It's purely game sense. And this is one beautiful understanding where they got the opportunity. This was in fact Abdullah Fazil scored that try. And sorry, it's my bad. I missed out his final try where he put that cross kick, and it was a completely international class. Great awareness to put that execution into the kick.
The confidence coming from a schoolboy to execute that under pressure in that moment of a game, that says a lot about Zahid Zumri, and I think that is an exciting prospect in the future for the Tuskers moving forward as well.
Yes, indeed. Let's have a look at the Amana Bank try scorers of this game. There we go. Those are the reviewer of Group 1A. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back and talk a lot about Group 2A review. Stay tuned.
Care for another helping, darling?
Yes, my love.
Garçon?
Red Bull gives you wings. Get keys to your wheels and experience people-friendly vehicle leasing with Amana Bank. Enjoy the lowest monthly installment and flexible financing up to 7 years. Apply online at www.amanabank.lk or call 0117 756 756. Amana Bank. It's your bank.
Welcome back. So the other games from Group 2A, Royal College, who are through for the Super Round despite the loss against St. Peter's. They played some really game, but this time they missed the century by 3 points. It was a fine performance as expected by Royal.
I think great display of running rugby from Royal. Coming out from last week's defeat against St. Peter's, I think they came out with a vengeance to make sure they put a lot of points on the board and put away Thurstan in the first half itself.
I mean, when you get a team like underdogs, you have to stamp your authority. Welcome to A Division and welcome. You have to play up to your potential. That will give a lot of confidence because very rarely you will get another opportunity like this.
Yes, exactly. I think this was again a confidence booster for them going into the Super Round. So they wanted to get as many players on the field for them to prepare for the next 2 rounds, the crucial 2 rounds, I would say, the business end of the tournament. So they wanted to wrap up all the momentum that they can get. As a result, 97 in favor of Royal and 16 points for Thurstan.
First half, first few minutes, Thurstan quite played really well in terms of their improvement. We were talking about they gave quite a tough time against Zahira in that first half, but again 16 points, something for them to talk about.
Yes, exactly. I think Sumangala, Thurstan are up for the B division. I think they'll have to play against the B division upper demotion match against as well. But I think they will learn a lot from these types of games. Nothing because when you lose, I think you learn a lot more than winning. So, like as Marty said last week as well. So, I think this will be a good game for them to look at and then improve themselves going forward for those games.
Interesting. They will be playing against Isipathana. That is going to be another helter-skelter in that super round. But before we talk further about the preview, let's move on to the Amana Bank try scorers of this game. Next game in this group 2A, Zahira College travelling to Kandy to play against Kingswood College. Now, Zahira had beaten Kingswood after 37 years, if I'm not mistaken. Last they won in 1987, Zahira. So, 38 points to nil, a comprehensive win, although Kingswood played really good rugby. At least a couple of tries they missed because they dominated the opposite territory, the red zone, in the first 15 minutes. But Zahira defense were very patient and then they didn't allow them to score a single point.
I think Zahira has been continuously improving throughout the season as well, and it will be really interesting to see what they will do in terms of the knockouts going forward. Kingswood a bit unfortunate to finish like this, I think, the last week of the season because they were quite inconsistent at the start of the season as well. Moving forward, the coaches will have to do a lot of work in terms to get these players up and running for next season as well.
Yeah, I spoke to consultant coach Ananda Kasturiarachi and Gamage, the coach. Only 4 boys will leave this team for next year, so certainly they have in-depth talent, but it's going to be crucial to stand their authority because we know, you mentioned about Kingswood, if you talk about the names who played for national, the list is endless. So it's quite disappointing being a Zairian also looking at this Kingswood performance because Kingswood is some inspiration for most of us, even in our era where we looked at where we played against. So I'm sure, I believe, I hope and pray that they will come strong next season.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, a very young team, I think, put out to experience the highs and lows of rugby this season. If this team stays together and moves forward to the next season, I think you can get some good outcomes going, and I think they are set to make some upsets next season.
Right, let's have a look at the Amana Bank try scorers of this game. Right, the next game in this group, St. Peter's travelling all the way to Nithavada to take on Vidyartha College. It was a very fast game as expected. Both teams, we know their strength. We've been talking all our weeks, all our episodes, but it's not the score line that Vidyartha expected. It took so long to score the first try, in fact, in this game. And once the gate opens, St. Peter's found their momentum. It was like a hard defense, some great tackles, some fast play. This is what we want to see.
Yeah, I think it was really important to see what Vidyartha was going to do this week because they had so much hype for this game building up right throughout the week. They had their crowd support gathering towards this because they knew that St. Peter's was the main opponent that they're going to face all season. Interesting to say that you said after the floodgates open, it was just one way of traffic coming in from St. Peter's. But St. Peter's, as expected, they are continuing their momentum from last week, and I think they are headed into a very strong position going into the Super Round next week as well.
Yeah, as the game moved on in the second half, the game had to stop for 10 minutes because the spectator invasion in the ground, which we don't want to see that happening, but credits must go to Vidyartha Rugby Committee and the police who came to rescue on that occasion. They made sure it's not going to happen. So as a result, we were able to witness the balance remainder of the game as well.
Yeah, we don't want to see any spectator interference or any sort of that sort of thing in general. So I think they did a good job to prevent that happening, and they got the game going and flowing right throughout till the end.
also, I like the fact how the referee controlled that game, Muthu, because once the incident happened, he took both the teams away and then they went inside. He made sure everything is in order. He spoke to the necessary people and he took his time, come back to the game. So
yeah, I think the referee did a good job, and I think you should applaud them for handling the situation well and keeping everything under control and not letting it steam out over the limit.
So Vidyartha versus Trinity College, I beg your pardon, St. Peter's versus Trinity College in that super round, mouth-watering clash. We'll wait and see. Let's move on to the Amana Bank try scorers. The final game we will review is Wesley versus St. Joseph's. It was meant to be a close game and it was some close encounter in that first half, but Wesley, the double blues with a man down, a red card on the 27th minute, but they managed to win with a bonus point. This was a fine performance. Perhaps the game of the season for them.
Yes, I think after the win against Vidyartha last week in the Hills as well, it was not surprising to see the outcome of the game. Even with a man down, I think it was enough. The Wesleyites were strong enough to take away the win at the end. St. Joseph's, unfortunately, it's not clicking for them for some odd reason. They have the players that are capable to match with the top teams in this league, but for some reason they are not executing under pressure and coming away with the wins. Congratulations to Wesley for a dominant performance even with a man down.
Yeah, absolutely, finishing third on that table, but it was St. Joseph's who scored that first try, and then certainly Wesley hit back with a try, and it was 10-12 at one point, but momentum swung in favor of Wesley in that second half. There were some decisions, maybe some yellow cards, a couple of yellow card for that red card player, whether it's right, seatbelt tackle, how it's but nowadays the referee is not allowing any chance. Whether there's a motion going on to the lower center of gravity, the player comes and put the hit. So as long as your arm with going in a force to your neck or the shoulder, upper shoulder area, you are going to get in trouble.
Yeah, the seatbelt tackles are really dangerous in the modern game, with the athletes becoming more faster, stronger and more elusive. The tackle technique needs to be emphasized by the coaching staff as well. So that was a key point that the referee was policing on that particular day. Cards came out because unfortunately there were 2-3 instances where there were very dangerous seatbelt tackles that could result in neck injuries as per the law. So hopefully they will iron out their issues and come in strong for the knockouts. But kudos to Wesley on the day, they did brilliantly.
And I'm also certain that it's the referees nowadays, before the game, they instruct both the captains in terms of the yellow card offences or the seatbelt offences, and also breakdown, where we talk about Coach Martis the other day in terms of, not supporting your body weight and hands coming on the ruck. So these things will be communicated, I'm sure. But again, sometimes it will go in the player's way, sometimes it will go in the referee's way. So that's one aspect which is it is never ending task in terms of that consistent accounts. But I thought for a second that red card was a clear decision in terms of 2 yellow cards.
Yes, I think what you mentioned earlier, the referees have the chat with both captains before the game, but I think in the heat of the moment, the heat of the game, when the pressure is on, I don't think natural instincts actually come into play and they want to stop the player in front of them given the situation. So I think red card, yes, 2 yellow cards will come up to that, but then it was a key moment for them, both teams, to execute and win this game. But I think Wesley did the best.
Now, although Wesley finished third, they have a great opportunity to play the knockouts and show whether they are capable of maybe winning another silverware. Last, they won a knockout trophy under Rahul De Silva's captaincy, if I'm not mistaken, in 2013. Literally, it's high time for them to go for a trophy.
I think there's a high possibility that they might challenge some of the top teams this season in the knockouts, as you said, because they are playing some good rugby at the correct time of the season and they're improving tremendously under coach Henry Terrence. I'm really excited to see what they will do.
Yeah, good job, Coach Terrence. And we'll have a look at the Amana Bank try scorers of this game. Alright, before we move into the preview of this super round, Let's go for the Quickee play of the week. So Darshan and Muthurandri judged at this try from Isipathana College. Fine performance by Zumri. Look at this cross kick. That is international class.
Yeah, executing this under pressure is not an easy feat, and kudos to the guy who was collecting the ball under pressure as well. It was a clean collection, and the fend off was icing on the cake for the finish.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And not only the fend off, the hat-trick try. So he will remember, and he will have some great momentum coming for the next game to play against Royal. So fine performance. That's the Quickee play of the week. Let's have a look at the super round fixtures. Isipathana versus Royal, and then St. Peter's versus Trinity. And before that, let's have a points table in terms of these two teams. You can see Isipathana have 39 overall points, but they have only 4 bonus points. That's the reason for unbeaten tag. Whereas St. Peter's have 42 points and they had 7 bonus points. All the points they were managed to score 4 tries plus, which is great. And Royal on the other hand with 35 points and Trinity with 32 points. This is how now these points will be carried forward in terms of playing the super round.
Yeah, so it is important to see how Trinity actually plays against St. Peter's, because those points will be crucial for the final outcome of the league, because the points, like you said, gets add up at the end of the league, and the total points will be determined the winner. So I think the bonus point comes into play here. 4 tries is very important, so I think it will be really open, expensive rugby that we will see over the weekend.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. Let's talk about Royal versus Isipathana first off. Where's your money?
My money here is on Isipathana because it's at Havelock Park at the home ground, and Isipathana will be carrying good momentum from the St. Thomas's game, because I think that's the best game that they played so far in the season. Royal, obviously they had a big win over Thurstan, but I think my money will be on Isipathana this weekend.
Yeah, again, Zumri brothers, in addition to the captain Nisanjala, he's also marshalling his troops quite well. And what I like to see is what I witnessed comparing the first 2-3 week, this Isipathana come back as a 9 to 15. They are all well gelled as a team. They all understand their duties in terms of playing that 60 to 70 minutes. That is what you like to see as a champion team.
Yeah, I think the backs don't play according to the number on the back of the jersey. I think they can play in any given position and in any given situation. So you see them shuffling around the back line, but they know exactly what their role is and how they want to execute it, even under pressure when their backs are up against the wall.
And on the other hand, talking about Royal, I'm sure they have all the players ready in terms of the red carded player also back after the suspension, so they have their full strength. But you cannot underestimate this Royal as well.
No, Royal cannot be underestimated. The only reason I am selecting Isipathana is based off momentum. But Royal forwards will have a big say in this game, because as you saw last weekend as well, Isipathana may be vulnerable to the maul and in stopping the maul. So that will be a point where Luke will try to exploit it this weekend.
You did mention this game is at Havelock Park. I'm quite not sure because they're still talking about in terms of the venue.
Right.
However, we'll update on obviously on the #1 sports channel, the Papare. Keep locked. All the rugby news will be on here. And moving on to the next game, St. Peter's. Trinity have to come back again to Colombo. It's going to be a different challenge for them.
Yes, Trinity St. Peter's will be really interesting because it's 1-4 actually playing in terms of the overall positioning on the tables. Trinity will not have anything to lose in this game. They will have all the things that they can win. But St. Peter's will have all to lose in this game because they will have to score the 4 tries and make sure that they secure their lead and assert their dominance on the table.
When Coach Martis was here last week on our episode, Muthu, I told Coach I would like to see St. Peter's losing one game and see how this points group will come up. So we'll see whether Trinity can do that change. But it's going to be because there's clear 10 points different. St. Peter's 42 and Trinity 32. St. Peter's pretty much in the driving seat for the title.
Yeah, they are in the driving seat. So that's why I said they need to make sure that they have the position stabilized this weekend, because they can't let anyone sneak up on them after playing so much good rugby during the season. This is a game that they will want to take very seriously and put Trinity away from the start. But in other words, Trinity will have a lot to say because this will be a good momentum shift for them if they can beat St. Peter's in their home grounds.
Prediction?
I would say St. Peter's will take it off.
Right, there we go. Isipathana and St. Peter's to win according to Muthitantri. We'll wait and see. We'll come back after this super round first week action. And stay tuned. I'm Sabir Kader signing off along with Muthu.
Red Bull gives you wings. Get keys to your wheels and experience people-friendly vehicle leasing with Amana Bank. Enjoy the lowest monthly installment and flexible financing up to 7 years. Apply online at www.amanabank.lk or call 0117 756 756. Amana Bank. It's your bank.